Hello, it's me, Unkempt Snugglepepper, back with another art critique from Reddit. This person posted several images of characters that they have been creating and wanted help specifically with the artificer. So they're drawing a group of Dungeons and Dragons characters, but instead of being medieval fantasy, we're set in the 1950s, which I think is awesome. I am here for any non-medieval type fantasy. I think it gets very clever. There's the bard, who I think is adorable. I think this is a great character design. I really like how the hair kind of looks like a nod to Elvis. He has this cool bard hat, but still looks pretty 50s. The one thing I would note on creating characters is rather than using a white background, to use a gray background, which is going to give you a better idea of what your colors actually look like, especially as they go into different settings. So he looked a little washed out, but with a gray background, he begins to become more vibrant. The other thing I would point out on him would be his guitar hand and that he doesn't have a strap. Okay, so this guy looks like a dad and I'm here for it. I would give him a gray background as well. Kind of see those colors a little better. Funny enough, I had to look this up. I believe in the 50s they still were wearing garter belts for socks. In addition to that, the socks are much lighter than anything else on him, so our eyes get drawn to the socks. They have the most amount of contrast. So I'm going to go to a blank layer. I'm going to fill it in with black. And then on layer mode, I'm going to go to saturation. And that's going to give you black and white what the values are. So for my background, I would probably go a little bit darker, actually. Yeah. Kind of give us a better idea of what his values overall are. And I noticed that the socks are like the lightest color. What I would do is make them a little darker in value and kind of use the color of his sweater, vest, or shirt in order to portray that. That's just my opinion. I think he looks cool. I want to know more about him, like why does he have this kind of messy appearance where his shirt's untucked, his sock is falling down. I feel like especially in the 50s, there's an emphasis on looking presentable. So for him as a character to have this appearance, I feel like there's an interesting backstory. Then we have this gal. I think she's super awesome. I like the use of a prosthetic. My note would be in the 1950s, it was pretty popular to wear petticoats. So her skirt would come out just a little bit more. The floofier the skirt, the better. We weren't quite hoop skirts at the time, but there were a lot of petticoats in order to fluff up the skirt. My other concern is how her prosthetic attaches to her arm. Usually when it's higher up on the shoulder, there's like a harness. So I would look into that. I don't know if it was a conscious choice or not to have it like it is, but I want to know what class she's playing. I feel like she also has an interesting story. I love the use of pink and kind of like this really warm skin tone. And I think with these three characters, no, the bard has a pose. I think with these two characters, the next step is to get them standing in a pose that gives us more of a story about their character. I'm guessing that this is just getting the costuming right. I want to see a pose similar to our bards and similar to how you've been drawing the artificer. So here we have our character in question. And wow, you've experimented a lot, which is good. I highly encourage it. There are 2 pages of full body and 2 sets of heads. I'm just looking at 1 page. I'm not going to say if something is right or wrong. I more want to explain what I see in it, if that makes sense. So in this one, The pose is telling me he's confident. It gives kind of a John Wayne sort of vibe where he walks into a room and everyone looks at him. And I don't think that's the vibe you're going for. You mentioned that he's rather shy and he's nerdy, even if he's not super intelligent. I would say this is getting close to what I imagine a 50s artificer would wear, like the jumpsuit you would see if they are working a more labor intensive job. My other guess would be if he has a, I think this one he has a bow tie, and if this is a sweater vest. And I would go off of a great 1950s nerd icon, uh, Rick Moranis. Gosh, I can't say his last name. Especially his role in Seymour and Little Shop of Horrors gives a great shy, nerdy sort of vibe. I'm unsure what I'm doing. I like this girl, but I can never approach her. That sort of vibe. With the intense slouching posture and his facial expression, he seems kind of uninterested in whatever is going on, and I'm not sure if that's the intention or not. He also kind of gives a bit of a bored vibe when standing like this. I think it gives him a lot of character. I just don't know if that's the character you're going for. As far as hats go, on the faces, really popular in the 1950s are kind of the horn rim sort of glasses. So I think number 3 and number 2 probably have your best eyewear appearance. We also have fedoras are still fairly popular. So I think 2 and 3 are your best headwear sort of thing. Number 3 looks angry, almost like a villain, like how I imagine if Scar were human. I think number 7, the mouth and the eye shapes give much more of a quiet distance sort of personality that's a little bit softer. I will note that when I would expand the hats a little, it looks like as you have the curve of the head, that the hat is not going down far enough, if that makes sense. I'd probably lower the bill a little and bring this forward just a bit. If he is working in a shop where he is doing a lot of welding, then yes, I would say go with that type of glasses, the safety goggle type look. If you want him to appear nerdy regardless of if he's in his workshop or not, I would go with the horn rim kind of glasses. I really I really admire how many times you drew him to experiment with everything possible. I think that's really awesome. I enjoy how you put him in different poses to try to experiment with what you wanted him to wear, and you experimented in a wide variety of costume options. One of my costuming notes would be that his pants are more of a should be in 1950s style, more of a straight leg rather than a skinny slim fit. I think if you went with a straight leg like you do over here, you're still going to portray that he is long, tall, and slender. If you found this video helpful, please give a like or a comment. I think these characters are really fun and interesting, and I want to see more of them and know what their adventures are. If you would like your art critiqued in one of my videos, there is a link down in the doobly-doo. And have a good one.